The new song by Black Country New Road is I'm too scared. I was too scared to even listen to it. I was sent it like just like a half a day early, and I pressed play, and I was just so nervous. But I'm going to tell you, this song "Besties" by Black Country New Road. It's James Ford produced it. I mean, will that even work? I mean, I love him as a producer. He's maybe like my favorite active producer. But will they meld together? Anyways, "Besties" by Black Country New Road. This song, I'm so scared. I was so scared when I pressed play. Because listen, obviously I love their first two albums, and the live album I think is great. But it's an adolescence. It felt like an adolescence. It felt like a band that had to recreate itself, and so it felt like it was growing into something. And here we have the first tangible product of what Black Country New Road will be as an adult band. And am I going to like it? This new song by Black Country Road is, how will this new order sound after the Joy Division? Will it have the same charm? Will it have a different charm? Will it be lacking charm? This new song, "Besties" by Black Country New Road. I haven't even introduced myself. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show hosted by a French professor. If you only watch my stuff about Black Country New Road, it's been a while. I've had at least one kid since I last talked to you. I've got like a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. That's why I got the bow in my hair, because when she goes to bed, my hair's always floppy. It's been a long day. My wife got me this new setup, so my camera's better. All that stuff's going. The bow also fits thematically with this album, because it seems like it might end up being Black Country New Road with a nice bow in it. But this new song by Black Country New Road is great. Oh my God, the relief. It's the Besties. It is so good. The question is, will it have the same charm? Will it have different charm? What is the best possible answer? How about both? And that's how it felt to me. It had so much of what I love about what they did, and it has so much that I'm going to love about what they're going to do. But listen, this is not a reaction channel. I'm not just going to sit here saying, I'm psyched, I'm psyched, I'm psyched. I am psyched, but that's not all I'm here to. I am an analysis channel. I want to bring you some sophisticated analysis. Now listen, this song, I always talk about songs and the memories they make. I will never forget, maybe the third or fourth time I listened to it, I was over there in the living room with that 2-year-old and my 17-year-old daughter, and we were dancing in the living room to the music. My daughter loves harpsichord, so she really liked this sound, So I'm going to be breaking this down and analyzing it, and that's there. But at the heart of it all is just a fan who's just so happy that it's so good. It's so promising. I'm just so excited for this new album. Okay? So, I sat down and I tried to break it down. And this is what I came to the realization. It's an 11-minute song, but it's only 3.5 minutes long. So that's a pretty confusing bit of math. I'm going to try and break it down for you. You see, this does a thing that very few bands are able to do. It has what I call Beatles-like efficiency. I think Yesterday is under 2 minutes long, and even though Yesterday is an overplayed song, oh my God. Do yourself a favor. Learn how to play guitar, and then get the chord book, and then just sing and play Yesterday all the way through. I don't care how cynical you are. I don't care how cool you are. I don't care how hipster you are. When you learn to play and sing that song, you are just so moved at the beauty of its writing. And the thing's like 2 minutes long. The Beatles had the ability to just pack in so much music into a small amount of music, and this is that. It is 3.5 minutes long, but I counted how many parts according to the Professor Sky division system, which is completely arbitrary, but I counted 13 different parts to this song, 13 different feelings. It has that movement. I talk about this a lot. One thing I love about great rock music or indie music, whatever the hell, any kind of music, is when it has movements, when it feels like it starts somewhere and it goes somewhere and you're on a kind of journey, and that's what this song does. With such an unassuming title of Besties. There's so much movement between the familiar and the unfamiliar. I think, the main question that obviously is occurring to all of us Black Country New Road fans is, what will it be like without the previous lead singer, Isaac? And it's weird because I totally miss him on this album. It's totally terrible that he's not here. I love his perspective. I love his songwriting. I love his lyricism. I love its obscurity. I love his excellent illustration of a kind of male self-loathing. Okay? You think when I got Brat on vinyl and I saw that, I didn't think of those lyrics? And think of the weird wet dream lyrics about Charlie XCX, like that kind of self-loathing, which so much, that kind of male self-loathing that so much of their audience relates to. You know who we are, that's not there anymore. And so what's going to be there, or at least what appears to be replacing it as of this song, is a kind of brightness, like a clarity, like truly bright. That's really what I see. I just see a bright clarity. And that's not disparaging. It's just not sludgy. It's not dark. It's not tearing at sheets. It's not tearing at the walls. It's not crashing into the ocean. It's lighter. Now listen, this is tough for me because it's not produced by Sergio Machetsko, who produced Ants from Up There. I owe so much of the success of this channel to him. Well, in the last year, I've basically become a hip hop channel. My content hasn't really changed, but I've gotten a lot more views for my hip hop stuff. So, I still do all the same stuff I ever did. I just get a lot more eyeballs, which is awesome. But I owe a lot of it to him just reaching out to me and saying, hey, would you like to talk to the band? I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke. And instead we have James Ford. Now this is unfair, right? Because I love James Ford so much. Because the thing is, you look at his notes and like, I'm sure the Arctic Monkeys are great, but I don't care about them even a little bit. I don't know their music. I missed entirely whatever Arctic Monkeys were. I missed them entirely. I know him as the Last Dinner Party guy, as the Beth Gibbons guy, as the Fontaines DC album that came out last year that you all said was not good, and you are all wrong. That is a very good album. I don't know what you were expecting, but that was a really good album. And he did the goddamn Geese album. Proof that American bands can also be good sometimes. They don't all have to be British. So I was conflicted, I felt like I was cheating on my producer friend by enjoying this production so much. But obviously, they all work together. I'm sure they're all friends, right? But what's great is that Ants from Up There, it could not be repeated, okay? It could not be. Even if the same personnel went to the same place and did the same thing, that level of brilliance and that kind of collective togetherness, that kind of creative process, that kind of moment, that kind of lightning in a bottle could not have been reproduced. It didn't matter if Isaac went on some kind of intensive therapy regimen with the voice cast of Futurama helping him through all of the difficulties that he was going through in his life, or whatever it was about being a lead singer they didn't like. It didn't matter if he never had those problems. That could not happen again. And by him leaving when he did, he made sure that we never thought it could be. So that gets to stay just this perfect pearl, this just perfect album that was made by this band that reached its apogee and then disappeared. And then in its place is a band with the same name that's this. And it's something great. It does have a lot of the same charm, but it has a lot of new charm. It's a lot more polished, but it's not too polished. And that's what I think is wild. I don't know if they learned something by working with Sergio about when to leave things a little raw or not, but the little bits on this song, I'll get to it. The little bits on this song that are raw. Based on some things that I've read, it seems as though one of their big influences are sort of the singer-songwriters of Los Angeles, your Zevons and Randy Newmans and Joni Mitchell's and all them. And I think that's great. And I think it's great to have British people inspired by Los Angeles music for a bit because it gets a little tiring having American people from the Midwest or from the East who move out West and, I don't know, get hooked on listening to Harry Nilsson songs and then try to be like Harry Nilsson while living in LA. I like having that kind of dedication to craft and songwriting and a kind of ironic, witty, heartfelt perspective, but not having it actually be in Los Angeles. And it produces this warmth and this sweetness. And let me tell you something. I try not to go too much on message boards or Reddit stuff, whatever, but I read somewhere, someone said something like, if they're continuing with their friendship arc, I'm serious, I'm out of this band. I don't speak for them, by the way, so I don't know what they say, but as a fan of the band, do not let the dog bite you where the door should have hit you. You know what I'm saying? Like, That's not the saying. Don't let the door hit you where the dog should have bit you. Feel free to go. You don't have to hang out here at all. You still have all those other albums. If you want the self-loathing and all that kind of dark mysticism, that's all still there. Me, myself, I wouldn't mind a little bit of sweetness, or at least clarity, or at least brightness. I mean, this isn't like bubblegum. It's still a fairly, there's a lot of sour notes in here. It's not just, come on, get happy. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a formal study and then a lyrical study. I'm going to break down the 13 parts of this song one by one. Part 1, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, the harpsichord intro. This is the first track on the album. It's climbing, it's bright. Harpsichord, when done well, is like this. Again, now look at me. Look at me making a point and then improvising a point that emphasizes my initial point. This is what's called flow state, everybody. That's a harpsichord is that kind of brightness that I'm talking about. Because the thing about a harpsichord, if you don't know the difference between a harpsichord and a piano, I don't blame you. A piano, the main reason why a piano is such a great instrument is that you can play it softly. That's what piano means. It means soft. So there's these little pedals you can have that can have you like, and how hard you press on the keyboard is how much noise it makes. So you can go da, 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 or you can go da, 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 and you have the sustain button, all that, right? Harpsichord, which is what Bach wrote on, and a lot of what Mozart only had, I think Mozart only had a piano for like the last bit of his life. I think the story is something like that. Anyways, harpsichord is just like you press the button and that makes the noise. So you can't really have sfumato. You cannot have tones, really. It's just the noise. And that's the same thing with organ. So a lot of the great music that you might listen to, you listen to like the Well-Tempered Clavier by Bach, which I suggest you do. I love listening to it on piano, having it played by, what's her name? There's a French lady who plays it in a way that I really enjoy. Anyways, she now runs a wolf sanctuary in New York State. I forget her name. Tell me in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Hearing it played on piano is great, but in reality, it should be played really sharp. And that's the thing. It's sharp and it's bright. And the harpsichord makes sense because, again, that's the feeling I'm getting off this song. That's the feeling I'm getting off this album based on this one song. And I don't know. Maybe the rest of the album is going to be totally different. But I assume they're doing this on purpose to give us a sense of what's coming. Clean, bright, not quite fussy, but still very energetic. That only lasts 13 seconds to part 2. Part 2, which I call the Black Country New Road part. That's the almost millennial, whoa, 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 soaring triumph, cannot wait to be at the concert with everyone singing along with the band and the kind of marching sound and the horns going and the audience is singing. And then these tight little awesome drum fill taking out by Charlie leading into part 3. At 30 seconds, the beginning of verse 1. And the whole thing about this song and what I'm noticing is, because it's just one song, I get to really go into it. And I don't know how long this video is going to be. I don't edit my videos, so what do I know? But I get to really go into it. And there's big dynamics and there's small dynamics. So it starts off with this big dynamic shift where we have the harpsichord and then the whole band and then this really quietness where it's just the voice, the voice of Georgia singing, who I think I said was my least favorite singer on the live album. But I think I'm wrong because holy cow, do I love her singing on this. Just her voice is clear and charismatic, and then these strained guitar notes, it goes kind of quiet, loud, quiet. And this melody, it's like the way she keeps singing, like there's not like a real hook or anything, like it just kind of keeps going. I keep thinking in you know what it is? You hear a harpsichord, you start thinking in Baroque thinking. And I'm not like a music person. I know I'm a music critic and everything, but I am actually a French professor. I've studied the Baroque a little bit. I've studied Bach a little bit. And one of the things that you'll have is you'll have something called basso continuo, which is like where the bass just kind of keeps playing underneath and doesn't do a lot of repetition. This melody makes me think of that because it kind of keeps going all over the place. It's not just doing one thing. It keeps changing. Okay? And it starts off, I want to be anywhere other than this. I want to see my best friend waving at me. And then the third line is this totally different melody. I want to be living with you, super up high. And then this is the point where there's a slight imperfection on the guitar. You just hear a slight imperfection on the guitar and you hear a slight imperfection in the voice. And I know it's on purpose, but still, it's just right because everything's so clean and so bright. Need a little bit. And then we get to part 4 at 46 seconds. Part 4, which I call This Is Why This Is My Favorite Band. this this part right here. I don't know. I don't know if this is something that they learned from Sergio working on Ants from Up There, or I don't know if this is something they always had in there. But this right here, this little section from 46 seconds until 50 seconds, this 4 second section of the song is to me evidence that the most important thing that I loved about that last album is still going to be here. She sings the words, seeing it through. And the saxophonist, whose name is Lewis, comes in with his ratty, reedy saxophone. Now, in the interview that I did with him, he explained that it's like an old saxophone. It's not perfect. And it has so much character because he's a virtuoso, right? He knows how to play saxophone quite well, thank you very much. And he's playing on an instrument which itself is not perfect. And it builds in a level of unpredictability. It builds in a level of character. You hear this sound of the reed, and it's just a little, like, it's a little fucked up, man. And this imperfection is captured, and I don't think it's repeatable. I don't think you could do it this way twice in a row, this little reed buzz. And the way that the sound of her voice mixes with just seeing it through, just this moment, seeing it through, the way that it goes. That's what I'm talking about. Like these little tiny moments that they're able to, they do so much in their music. They jam pack so much stuff everywhere, all over the place. Maximal, 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 maximal. And they're still capable of finding these little tiny moments, which for those who are paying super attention, end up being some of the favorite sounds that you ever hear. Which then leads to part 5 at 50 seconds. Let's all play together. Drums, saxophone, harpsichord, very kind of simple rhythms. It was interesting because when I was dancing with my 2-year-old and my 17-year-old, like, I was actually thinking like, oh wow, I can dance to this. This is just 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not trying to do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it wasn't like this at all. It was kind of simple. And then she's singing, "Do you want to play forever? How long can I play a song I made?" Yeah, it's a song. I'm gonna read something that's good, but I listened to you this nice image of like reading and singing and playing and being together and friendship. Okay. And at the end, there's this little flourish with the saxophone and the voice. But I listen to you, and I can't do it justice because I don't actually have a beautiful singing voice. I know you can't tell, but I don't actually have a beautiful singing voice. But the way that this little flourish at the end happens with the saxophone and the voice, it's just too good. It's just like you. I could have easily listened to this song 50 times and never picked up this little tiny moment where the saxophone is matched with the voice. But I'm so glad that I did. You know, one of my favorite things is really well constructed clothing. You know, and like, you can see clothing that has lots of very bright patterns where they draw a lot of attention to the detail that's made. But sometimes you'll see a piece of fabric, like just like a black piece of fabric that has like these levels of detail and stitch work. And it's not to be flashy. It's just to be this kind of like subtle beauty. And that's what like this is. Just this one little moment that could easily be lost in the rest of the song. Leads into part 6, 1 minute, 9 seconds. The hook, guitar, harpsichord, harpsichord? What am I, Canadian? And the only thing I will say, it does seem like the drummer Charlie is very restrained here, and I think it's very good. But also, I just really like his drumming when he goes nutty. So I hope at some point on the album we get a little bit Charlie off the chain. I'm not asking for much, just enough to fill my cup. You get up, I believe she says, "You make me laugh, Bob." I don't speak English. I only speak American. So I think she says, "You make me laugh, babe." But I don't know. I'm also simultaneously, it's like England week for me. I just did FKA Twigs. I'm doing this. Next, I'm doing Central C. And he has this whole thing like, "American girls laugh when I ask for a bottle of water." I'm like, yeah, I guess they do. Leading on to part 7, 1 minute and 24 seconds, the crescendo. What? Mandolin? Oh my. Are you going REM? Is Black Country New Road going REM? This is not the album where they went REM. Out of Time is the name of that album, but I gave that album away. It was, if you grew up in the 90s, man, that song, "Losing My Religion," it was just all over the place. I was like, "Oh, did you not play guitar? Do you only play mandolin now, Peter Buck? Well, congratulations. Please let me only hear this song for the next 3 years." The 90s were great. I could complain about hearing too much REM on the radio. Anyways, if you don't know, there was a time where the guitarist for REM just gave up guitar and played mandolin, and it coincided with their biggest hits. And so I imagine they're not done playing guitar here, but I do love hearing it here. And the lyrics like almost don't fit. They're almost conversational. I know what's expected of me, besties, night and day. And remember when I said he shouldn't treat you that way. And are you sure? I know I want something more. And there's this crashing at the end. And then, is that a piano now? Is that a piano? Is that a piano? Is that a harpsichord? Is that a mandolin? I don't know what it is. And then we get to part 8, 1 minute and 43 seconds later. We have the saxy groove. So Lewis is the name of the saxophonist. And in a patriarchal world, he would have been the sensical like leader of the band once the other dude who sang left, right? Like, I think on some level, our patriarchal brains kind of just expected that to happen. I think it's great that it didn't, right? And so he sang several songs on the last album. I liked it very much. But I feel his voice in this song more than I feel his voice in the songs that he sings. Like, the amount of soul and Lewisness that I feel in this saxophone performance, seriously, like, it's just so beautiful. This little part of the song where the saxophone is taking the lead, and it gives so much to the music. Like, I don't like saxophone in rock music. I don't. Like, okay, I like some of the stuff Bobby Keys did with the Rolling Stones, I like, but like Clarence Clemens for Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, oh my God, that made me hate. I always hate it. So the fact that there's not only a saxophonist who I enjoy in a rock band, but who to me is like the musical center, it's an amazing trick. And then here too, the drums are a little bit more crisp, a little bit more present. These are those subtle dynamics I'm talking about. This is not loud, quiet, loud, quiet. This is that production stuff, you know? This is that like this is, I assume this is what James Ford is getting out of them, right? And I don't know if this is not something that could have been gotten out before, because something different was gotten out of this band. You know, this is great. This is like the possibilities. Conversational and super well sung. The way that the saxophone hits right before she sings about the bestie girl. I don't know what it is. There's something about the way the saxophone and the voice mixes together just on this whole track that is, it's like a duet. It's just perfect. And I do think, you know, the thing that I didn't know based on the live album was like, does any of them have it? You know, like the lead singer quality that Isaac had in Spades, just being a lead singer. You know, some people are just lead singers. They just are that. And I was worried. You know, I had this whole like dream that Lauren Otter would actually become the lead singer of Black Country New Road. That was like this was one of my dreams, because I think she would be really great. I think they would work really, really well together. But I don't think I ever mentioned that to her when I interviewed her, or to them when I interviewed them. Anyways, you know, well, who am I, right? But this definitely has it. Like the voice, whatever it is that you'd want, it has that charisma. What about you? In fact, don't answer that. Wouldn't be any other way. Bestie Girl, Take Me Back Now. What it feels is the hole in your life. And this interaction between the vocals. How long have I been talking about this one goddamn 3.5 minute song? But I'm telling you, okay, the album doesn't come out till April. All right? So we're going to have to just sit with it, whatever they give us until then. All right? So the way that Hole in Your Life and the saxophone punctuates in between Hole in Your Life, it's not quite like in between. It's not like Hole in Your Life. It's not quite like that, but there's a little interplay, a little rhythmic interplay between it. Again, it's these little details which the closer you look at the fabric, the finer the stitching is. Then we get to part 9 at 2 minutes and 2 seconds, the She's Probably Right part. This is maybe the only repetitive part in the entire song, because by this song's standard, it's a harpsichord and vocals singing She's Probably Right. But then we get to 2 minutes and 8 seconds, part 10, Nerd Town. Hey, nerds, are we back? All right? Are we gonna look at Charlie XCX again and just be nerdy with these cool, out of sync, funky time signatures? We need it. We need a little bit of it. We can't have none of it. Okay, we have to have some of this stuff, but then what's great is that while we have these funny time signatures and this kind of funky bit here, we also have her vocals just singing probably right, just kind of soaring over it. And then we get part 11, the rounds bit, at 2 minutes and 22 seconds, where the voices in the back starts kind of repeating. And at this point, Charlie, I believe, is just playing the rims of the snare, and it's interacting just enough to fill my cup. I'm getting dry. You make me cry, babe. Yeah. And then we get part 11, the second crescendo. Bald Bull Part 2, 2 minutes and 29 seconds in. The full band and the choir are back and singing again, more kind of energy. I imagine this is partly for the live show where we're sitting there and we're all just, I came out and where were you? I think you see right through me. Bestie in my mind, just lean into it. Weird ending lyrics. Took some notes from Isaac. The whole song's pretty straightforward. And then we get this end here. I'm a walking TikTok trend, but the color runs out in the end. I'm sorry, I miss David Lynch as well. Sometimes my arms bend back. That flavor of gum that you like is back in style. I don't understand these last lyrics. It opens up a little bit. I am on TikTok. I don't do much on there. I don't really quite get it. Like, I sort of get it. I don't really get it. But I'm a walking TikTok trend, but the color runs out in the end. I'm sure someone will explain it in the comments. Great crashing cymbals, and then we get to part 12 at 2 minutes and 52 seconds, the instrumental interlude. If you are like me and you love this band, the whole song, at least for me, because I was so scared. I was like, what if they suck now? You know? Like, it's possible. Some bands just suck. And I love there are bands that I love that just suck now. You know what I mean? It happens all the time. It doesn't mean their old stuff was bad, but there was a real chance this was going to suck. And so the whole song, you're happy and you're happy and you're happy. And then this part is like the greatest dessert to this like crazy 11-course meal. There's guitar and harpsichord and mandolin, and they're so funky and they're so in the pocket, and the saxophone is punctuating, and Charlie's let a little bit off the leash. And listen, I know sometimes the band watches my videos, so this is just my plea. This is a stupid fan. Don't listen to me, but my plea. When you play this song live, could you play this part for a minute? Or for 2 minutes, or for 5 minutes, because this to me is this great release, because it's instrumental, right? No one's singing here. It's leading up to the very end where we're going to get some ooze, but it's just this amazing pocket where you like pick out each member of the band, and they're all doing something cool and interesting, and they're all playing together, and they're all playing their own thing. And I could just imagine having some kind of transcendent, eusexual, to quote FKA Twigs, a eusexual moment listening to this, like this part of this song for too long. Like Austin Powers too long. Like, that was cool. Oh, are they still doing it? Huh. I wish they'd stop. Actually, I'm happy they're still doing it. Oh my God, they're still doing it. Anyways, that would just, to me, I would like watch this little part of this song for an hour. But what's great is that leads up to the final part at 3 minutes, 9 seconds, the outro, which is building out of that last section that I was talking about, introduced by the saxophone that's playing the notes that the singer will sing. And as it goes out, it gets more and more operatic, rising and hitting these notes, almost becoming a barbershop sextet, and the notes almost resolve completely. Almost resolved finally, but not quite. There's one missing note. There's one more note they could have hit to have you go, but they didn't hit that because they're still edgy, you know? The lyrics are about friendship, I think. Unless, I don't know, maybe it's about Warhammer? I don't think so. I think the lyrics are about friendship between women. And let me tell you something. I'm for it. There needs to, hey, you know what made this album great? There's a lot of great stuff on this album about friendship between women. Women are often pitted against each other. Very, 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 very often pitted against each other, especially in public and private, just all the time. And extolling the values of female friendship is in and of itself a political act. It is. I'm sorry. I hate to tell you. I don't mean to be woke scold, but it is. It's a political act. To emphasize the importance of women talking to each other. You know that thing about the Bechdel test? You know, like people talking about, two women talking about anything that's... Okay. How many movies have two named female characters who have a conversation with each other about something other than a man. Very, very vanishingly few movies pass that test, and I think this is evidence of that, just like the friendship that one should have. It's interesting because it is my daughter's best friend's birthday, and my daughter, how cute is this? She made a mixtape, like a mix CD. I don't know why she didn't have just make it, but I don't know. She went through Etsy and made a mix CD, and most of the songs are themed around friendship. And I heard this song, it's like, oh, God, this would have been Strawberry would have loved this. This would be perfect. This is like your friendship, because I want to be anywhere other than this. I want to see my best friend waving at me. How great is that? You know that song, Best Friend? By Queen. That's a great song. I've always been so disappointed that song wasn't written by Freddie Mercury, because I always thought that was like a great song that was like secretly about like a gay friendship, like a Frog and Toad, Bert and Ernie kind of thing. But that they couldn't be out about it, so they just phrased it that way. So I always read the song Best Friend as being gay, but it turns out it actually wasn't. It was written by one of the straight members, and it's just about friendship and kindness and truth. And imagine life of a rock star. I'd rather be anywhere other than this. I want to see my best friend waving at me. I want to be living with you, seeing it through. That moment again, seeing it through. This is about the perseverance of friendship. This is about the perseverance and about the value of friendship that you can possibly have. And again, to the people that I read on Reddit who are like, if this is like more happy stuff, I think I'm out. Hey, goodbye, okay? Because I don't think you like the band. I think you like how the band makes you feel. And that's cool. There's a lot of people who do that, who just like how bands make them feel. But that's not actually like a deep love. That's a superficial reflection. So I think what this is announcing to us, or I hope, is that it might just be less cryptic, less overthought. I'm on this group chat for a zine, an online zine called Post Punk's Not Dead. A bunch of good folks working over there, and they asked me to contribute, and I contribute stuff. And it's always funny because they're all like 22-year-old kids who are super online, and they're always, just like, oh my God, did you hear that? And they just say some band I've never heard of, like, oh, did you hear that the Hungry Lions played at the Windmill? I heard the set was sick. Oh my God, I heard they played Red, White, and Blue, and it was like a totally killers. And then they're just going back and forth, and I'm just getting like thousands of notifications about some band I've never heard of playing. But it's Black Country New Road season, so I'm on board and I'm there. And someone said, actually, they drunk texted, shout out to Peter, said like, I have a question for you. In the interview that you had with Black Country New Road, they said that they didn't want to, they almost named Ants from Up There Concord, but they didn't want to draw too much attention to this one track. And he points out, correctly, inebriated though he may have been, this new record has a direct lyric from this song as the title, right? Forever, how long? How long? Forever, how long? How long, forever? Right. What is it? It's one of those two. Doesn't matter. You can tell me in the comments. And that it is a title track in and of itself. Why would they have a change of heart? And I just kind of hope that, and I just kind of said like, I don't know. Probably because they're not overthinking it. And it's that same but different thing. If I'm going to be honest with you, if I'm going to keep it 100 out of 100, I like this song more than Chaos Space Marine. I do. I mean, Chaos Space Marine is like one of my least favorite songs on that album, which I think is a masterpiece album. But definitely, when I heard Chaos Space Marine, I was not, to me, that did not announce what the album actually did. I thought the album was much better than that one song. And here, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot brighter. It's a lot simpler, has a lot of the same things, but is different. It's a brand new adult. All right. Well, good. Was that fun? How long did this end up being? 33 minutes. You could have listened to the song 10 times. Which, there you go. Tell me if you like this video. You can smash the like bucket. I do this thing now where if you put it in the comments, AVAA, it stands for awesome video. As always, I will always heart those comments because I read all the comments, unless I talk about Drake. And I don't read all those comments because sometimes people get mean. But I read every comment unless I'm talking about Drake. But now that I've said Drake, I just got 1,000 more views. So anyways, I'm super excited. Thank you to Ninja Tune for sending me an early file of this thing. I'm not like a shill unless it's good. So thank you for for producing good music. All right. Well, until next time, seeing it through. There's the camera. Oh, wait, you want to see the dogs? Oh, yeah, my new setup. You can see the dogs. There they are. Look at them. There's Bo and Toby. You see them? Huh? Yeah, Bo? Yeah, Toby? That's Toby. He's a tired boy. Oh, yeah. There's the camera.